Come on. Come on. Hello? Hello? Creepy, is that you?
Thank you for choosing the big giant head. He cares about you.
Creepy, your reception is terrible. Someone keeps trying to sell me information about your big giant head or something.
It's Mississippi. You've been down here before. What did you expect?
The Star Trek Hollow Network?
No, if we're doing that, there's a high possibility of you answering the phone while naked. Anyway, what's this about me reviewing Atlantic Rim?
It's Atlantic Rim. Why wouldn't you review it?
Asylum films are what helped make you famous on YouTube.
Yeah, but you know, there's this thing. I can't review Atlantic Rim because I haven't watched any of the Pacific Rim movies yet.
And you've been putting it off for this long just so you can keep that excuse going.
That's not the point. Look, it wouldn't matter anyway, because I do not own a copy of Atlantic Rim, and there is no way that I'm spending good money to go out of my house and... So, you got me Atlantic Rim.
Say what you will about Amazon, but the timing of their delivery system can be downright uncanny.
Yeah, but it only seems to work like that when it's a movie I don't want.
Then you'll do the review? You know your fans have been clamoring for it.
Okay, fine, but I am not taking on this turkey alone. This thing was almost too much for the new MST3K. I am not going to be dealing with that kind of horror all by myself.
See you in a few. I look forward to the fresh batch of hate mail from your viewers.
Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. And by popular demand, we are going back to the show's roots by covering an Asylum film. I hate you all. Atlantic Rim is a movie by the Asylum. Aliens invade. Mankind fights back.
You're going to have to open the case and play the movie at some point, Decker.
Hey, let me take this at my own pace, okay? Yeah, that's about what I figured. Also known as From the Sea, Atlantic Rim released in 2013, around the same time as Pacific Rim, like 3 days prior. While the DVD case proudly declares aliens invade and mankind fights back, that's not even remotely close to what happens in the movie. There are no aliens, there is no invasion. There's a monster, and people get in giant robot suits to beat it up in between bouts of binge drinking.
Sounds like your kind of movie, honestly.
Well, I'm all for monsters, and giant robots, and drinking, but somehow I don't think that it's going to work all mixed together. Kinda like moonshine and gin and antifreeze.
Your rural Vermont upbringing does you well, Decker.
To be more specific, Atlantic Rim follows the adventures of Red and his friends in the convenient giant robot division of the military. After the Atlantic coast is suddenly attacked by monsters, they must mobilize to send the threat back where it came from.
The Pacific Rim, where hopefully their agents can get them guest appearances in a better movie.
Can they bring us a better movie to review while they're at it? At this point, I'll take some of the newer works by Full Moon.
Meaning you're willing to cover their rip-offs of Twilight?
Never mind, let's take a look at Atlantic Rim, and...
Get this rim job over with?
If this were a rim job, I could close my eyes and think of London. Or Japanese women. Anyway, let's take a look at Atlantic Rim and see the Asylum take another genre I love just to fuck it up. We open on an advertisement for Big Oil, which quickly goes horribly wrong as we find out that there's been a teensy tiny oil spill.
Was this an accident?
There are certain things that you generally don't do on purpose.
Not unless you're a Captain Planet villain. I really don't want to see what Asylum would do with that show.
Like they could make it worse. Actually, no. Moving on.
This was an accident. That was a $15 million machine down there. What would you tell the press?
Understood.
Sweet Jesus, man, what happened? You just have a 3-car pileup in your throat?
We're immediately greeted with the kind of quality that Asylum made itself known for, such as throwing in a fuck ton of sound effects over dialogue that the editing studio decided they didn't want in the film, as well as characters in a soundstage masquerading as a submarine cockpit, smashing buttons at random as soon as something goes wrong. The second time the crashing sound effect greets us, though, it's enough to shake the entire oil rig, and that's because...
No, that's Carl. He's on vacation from Florida.
Now, Oh, come on, where's the lady from earlier? Shouldn't she be asking, is that a monster? Are we dead?
Oh, never mind. It's just Mardi Gras. Given the kind of stuff that can go on during that festival, though, I get the confusion.
This backdrop for the opening credits establishes, yes, alcohol and partying exist. With that taken care of, we cut to the base and introduce the biggest named actor in the film and likely where most of the budget went, General Hadley, played by Graham Greene, who you might recognize from Dances with Wolves as the role of Kicking Bird. Mardi Gras also serves as an excuse to cut down on how many people he has here to talk to, as the meeting room houses only Sheldon Geese, played by Stephen Marlowe, as well as the NASA Nichols, Margaret, played by Nicole Dixon, and Stone, played by Nicole Shipley. No one knows what caused the oil rig to disappear, but Nicole has an idea.
We felt this would be a good opportunity to move Project Armada into its first live field test.
And we just so happen to be designing giant fucking battle robots for a while, and the best way to see if they can really do the job is an investigative rescue mission in the middle of the ocean.
Okay, roll it. This woman reminds me of a kid looking for any plausible excuse to pull her toys out so she can play with them.
Giant robots, remember? Wouldn't you?
I concede the point.
She does mention that they tried a rescue sub-route, but after 15 minutes that up and disappeared too. So honestly, what other choice do they have but to send untested mech warriors out that cost $500 billion to produce? Of course, these mechs need pilots, and only a select few are trained to do so, such as Red here, played by David Chokachi, who is out and about drunk off his ass in the middle of the day, along with his teammate Stacy, played by Jackie Moore.
Squid? Yeah, dude.
What?
Anything? Let me call you back.
What'd you say?
Red.
You heard me.
Well, now that we've seen our protagonist and established he's a hard-drinking soldier to boot, we gotta see how much of a badass he is.
Yo, back up, bitch. Don't touch her.
By having him assault a random civilian who just so happens to be competing for the Rue Bourbon's Biggest Lush trophy.
Who's the bitch now?
Oh, honey, you do not want me to answer that question. The legend of drunken bastards is interrupted by the call of duty, however, so they join up with the third member of their squad, Jim, played by Anthony Chris. They suit up and get ready to mech suit up in their own personal giant fucking battle robots. Jim with the green Zord, Tracy with blue, and Red is... oh, yeah. No bother, they drop in the ocean and get ready to search. I mean, there's this thing where everyone's hot for no specific reason, and Tracy almost dies from no air, but whatever air it was never comes up again, so fuck it. They march forth on the ocean floor, and...
Whoa. You guys picking this up?
What happened down here?
fuck if I know, you aren't showing us anything.
I've never seen something like this before.
Really? Neither have I.
I've dived damn near 100 dives and seen countless pictures of others, and believe me when I tell you this, I've never seen anything like this before.
You mind showing us what the fuck you're talking about?
Calm down. If they did show it, you would just complain about being able to see the strings.
They actually do get a glimpse of the movie monster swimming away, so Red decides to chase after it.
Like he's a dog going after a stick or something.
However, this is a search and rescue. Just because they are in giant battle robots that would be extremely useful in a fight against some random budget kaiju, that doesn't mean their higher-ups actually want them to do this, so they pull the plug.
Sort of.
The bosses deactivate Tracy and Jim's mechs, but Red, who is rushing closer to the shoreline and shallower water, is somehow out of range. His plan is to stop the monster before it reaches the beach.
By running past it and getting to the beach first.
You need to evacuate the beach now! Get off the beach! Get off the beach now!
These disperse! Nothing to see here!
Holy fuck nuggets! I'm gonna have the greatest YouTube video ever! Ah! Red does battle with the beast from about 800 or so fathoms. And actually, the fight isn't bad. I mean, it is bad. It's the Asylum. You expect bad. But for the Asylum, this surprisingly has some entertainment value to it. Red's laser beam of death does tons of damage to random buildings, but never mind that. He does eventually pin the creature down, allowing another random character, Spitfire, played by Jared Cohn, to blow it away with a missile. So the people are saved! At least most of them.
The city's messed up, man. There's dead people everywhere.
Steven! You just saved most of Beach City.
Yeah, the laser didn't go well. You should know. You were there.
Just how much did this guy drink? Is this a story element thing? Do they have to be shit-faced before the robots will work for them?
Asylum film, remember? That's not likely. Although...
While Red wastes some running time describing the fight we just saw with considerably less spectacle, some army guys drive up informing the man he's under arrest for disobeying orders.
I guess no good deed goes unpunished. Or evil deed, considering the slaughter of innocent civilians.
Hey, until EDF makes me fail missions for blowing up the entire city just to kill one spider, I really don't care.
The one among them who does have an actual moral compass seems to be Jim, as we take a break from the story we're actually interested in to watch him complete a side quest, rescuing a little girl from a burning building.
Way to go, Superfly!
Not the best shot to try and end on a positive note.
It's plenty positive. None of them have to watch any more of this movie.
Red is locked away for, like, an afternoon because he's also informed that he has been invited to a party in celebration of that badass victory today. I'm getting mixed messages here. Tracy is invited too, but Jim has that heart of gold and insists on instead spending his time helping the Red Cross with disaster relief. So while Red spends his night getting shit-faced, yet again, we finally move the plot forward when Sheldon points out that there happen to be at least 2 eggs of these creatures in the sea.
We know where the other egg is?
Yes, sir, we do.
Oh well, chalk that up to the world's fastest Easter egg hunt.
If the egg is vibrating, believe me, you don't want to know where they've hidden it.
Somehow, they are still caught off guard though, because the egg hatches instantly, releasing a monster that destroys several Navy vessels and gets ashore far faster than the other one. Searching for it isn't going to be much of a problem though, because it's headed directly for the military base our heroes are holed up in. Red, however, has managed to find his way back into the cell since the party, so the others have to figure out what to do.
It's either we go, get them suits and get red, or we done. What do you want to do? The suits are red.
Red, then the bots.
Naturally, robots are a little expensive for the asylum, so no matter how useful they would be, they're avoided as much as possible.
Why? Unless there's an achievement associated with doing it. I'll rescue Red in 2 minutes with some chewing gum and a toothpick if it'll up my gamer score.
Listen, you need to get out of here. This place is gonna blow. It's gonna come crumbling down.
Yeah, well, Jim will see your toothpick and chewing gum and raise you a hammer.
Goddamn, why the fuck have we been following around Red for 50 minutes? Jim's clearly a much better protagonist.
I've been asking myself that for a while now, actually.
So the 3 of them are now together and able to suit up for battle. Except they don't. Instead, they get picked up in a car while the monster is bombed from above in great explosions of gore and glory. Which makes me wonder why they didn't just try that outright. But then we clearly see it escape into the ocean, so fuck it. Good enough, question answered. They beat the monster and can go drinking to celebrate.
Hey, on behalf of the city, I'd like to thank you.
For what? Did he blow up the guy's competition?
Probably.
There is some attempt at subplot here. Evidently, Tracy and Red are a couple, but Jim and Tracy had a fling at some point. It almost looks like there's going to be some kind of drama that matters going forward, but then we get a call informing them that the monster we clearly saw get away and not die actually didn't die and indeed just got away. It's headed for New York now, and the only ones that can stop it are these 3. Well, them and, of course...
What about the nuclear option, Admiral?
The Decker strategy. Monster is attacking New York City? No problem. Just blow up New York City.
Hey, does that or does that not solve the monster problem?
And he wonders why the cops kept stopping us every 5 feet when we were in Nagoya.
The Admiral obviously doesn't want that, and besides, NASA has some new tricks up its sleeve. They have brainwave controls for the mechs now, allowing them to pilot the machines with the power of their mind, as if it were their own bodies. Not entirely tested, but when has that ever had negative connotations in a movie? With that, they take off and fly forward to save New York. However, Sheldon has his own secret strategy.
I think it's time we implement.
the Trojan horse.
Nukes? Is it nukes? It's nukes, isn't it?
Wait, hold up. They're piloting the mechs using their minds now? Is that right?
Yes.
Well, I put this joke off for as long as I could.
Swooping in to save the day, our heroes close in on the monster. And by that I mean, Jim and Tracy stand back while we get to watch Red go solo against the thing for about 3 rounds. Again. After he runs out of ammo and goes toe-to-toe with non-specific please don't sue us giant lizard, we find out that their brainwave controls have the adverse effect of causing them pain when their robots get hit.
As opposed to us, who experience pain from watching this.
Oh, I felt pain as soon as I saw the DVD box. Thanks for that again, Creepy.
Anytime, Decker. Anytime.
Also, there is one more thing they kinda sorta forgot to mention before. The robots have melee weapons! I have no idea why Nicole 1 didn't bring this up earlier, especially as everyone was complaining about ammo, but the point is now they can really bring the fight to the beast. And, again, this is surprisingly entertaining. Also, surprise, surprise, Sheldon launched a nuke, but that's not really important anyway.
We jammed that sucker!
And that makes it look like a floppy-ass fish. How?
After playing how much EDF, you're still complaining about physics bugs?
Using that handy-dandy nuke that they just so happen to have now, Red grabs the big bad and hauls ass for outer space.
Considering they had that kind of power with the mech suit all along, this means they could have just shipped the monster into space.
Are you trying to apply logic to an Asylum film?
No, but I know how much this stuff bothers you, so I'm trying to put that discrepancy in your head so it'll keep you awake at night.
Again, thank you. Therefore, happy ending! The monster is launched and nuked in space, and Red crashes down to Earth in that ultra-heavy machine, which means he's completely fine. Yay.
We say the 4 of us go to a local drinking establishment and get 4 shots of tequila.
Sure, why not? Just as a change of pace.
I know I feel like binge drinking after this. And that was Atlantic Rim.
Sweet fuck, I have got to get my mail sorted by a bomb squad or something. So what are we looking at here? Chemical weapons? Biological weapons? Medieval weapons? Asylum films. I'm out. Just when I thought I was out, you motherfuckers pulled me back in. It's the Asylum. You know what you're getting into when you go Asylum. Unless you're one of those poor bastards who mistook this for the Pacific Rim, and boy, ain't that some buyer's remorse. The thing is, this particular one was bad, but there were a couple of bits to like about it.
As far as the CGI effects go, these weren't too terrible. I mean, we've all seen far superior. Of particular note is the film this movie was ripping off. But there's also been far, far worse. From studios with far more credible reputations compared to the Asylum. So there's that much at least.
Unfortunately, though, CGI is pretty sparsely used in this movie. I mean, it's everywhere, but there's more than a few situations where the options seem to be kinda low-end CGI spectacle, or guy sat in a room lit by a light of one of 3 colors, and more often than not, we got the latter. I really don't care if the characters are seeing something that blows their minds. I'm seeing people with shocked expressions, and nothing else.
Not to mention the major inconsistency when it comes to characterization. Honestly, Atlantic Rim feels as though it's following the wrong people around. Red takes up so fucking much screen time. A lot of Jim's exploits sound awesome, yet we learn about them happening off-screen or after the fact. And Tracy has so minuscule development aside from serving as love triangle fodder to the 2 male characters that she might as well not have been in this movie at all.
At the end of the day, Atlantic Rim is background entertainment. There's really nothing worth getting too invested in, from shallow characters to a shallow plot. But to its credit, the movie doesn't really piss me off with what it's trying to do or say, and honestly, I was pleasantly surprised that the CGI fights had some spectacle and entertainment value to them, especially towards the climax. So, to me, Atlantic Rim somehow comes in at a whopping 2 army guys standing in the corner screaming about wanting to use nukes for 25 minutes out of 5.
Not sure that saying a film didn't offend or outrage you quite as much as you expected it to is high praise. And yet, I can't think of much more to say about it. It's bad. Of course it's bad. This is an Asylum film. It makes all the classic mistakes of an Asylum film, and yet manages to not make those mistakes quite as badly as the Asylum normally does. If you want to watch a good version of this film, watch the Pacific Rim movies. Or, as an alternative, watch the MST3K episode of Atlantic Rim for a far superior and much more entertaining romp. By itself, Atlantic Rim can't do much more than be moderately less awful than some of its predecessors, coming in at 2 giant robots that had their Duracell batteries taken out before the monster fight could begin, out of 5.
Thank you all for watching. I've been Decker Shado, and remember...
You know, all this talk about giant robots reminds me of my childhood. It's been years since I've seen a decent movie that had a giant robot in it. At least one that was made more than 10 years ago.
Ugh, well, it won't matter if you send it to me now. I've already got the whole month of March set aside for other, better plans. So, thank you all for watching. I've been Decker Shado, and remember...
We're the Power Rangers.
The hell was that?
Oh, just something for you to look forward to in the near future. Good night, everybody.
Damn it, Kirby, I still haven't said the send-off line. Thank you all for watching. I've been Decker Shado, and remember, giant fucking robots should be used for something more important than search and rescue, like blowing up entire fucking cities with giant laser beams or shit, okay? Was that the Power Rangers?
Who's the bitch now?